I mean, Barry, you've whetted my interest. I know when I became Wavy Gravy, but when did you become the fish? I've never had the courage to ask you this before. I've known you all these years, and I just thought, well, he's the fish, but...
Well, okay, the chip's okay, Barry. Don't worry about the chip. The chip's
It was
okay.
actually in 1965. You mean the chips are...
They're not too
Don't worry
valuable.
about the chips!
That's
Fish
correct.
and chips!
That's
That's right!
That's correct.
Rest his soul.
Yeah. Well, I became the fish as a young revolutionary in Berkeley, as a matter of fact. Berkeley, California. You know, I go back with Berkeley's history. I actually heard you talking on another show about Al Cooper, and Al Cooper was always my guest in Berkeley when he first came there. That's when he was a struggling young artist with a band called the Blues Project, and all the royalties for We Wear Short Shorts ran out. He used to stay at my house in
Yeah, but
Berkeley.
he already had this diamond ring under his belt then, probably.
Yeah.
He wrote the Gary Lewis song.
Yeah.
So he just walked in and called you a fish one day?
No, actually, it comes from my revolutionary period. You see, there's a quote from Chairman Mao's Little Red Book that the fish moves through water as the revolutionary does through the peasantry. Or it's the other way around. The revolutionary moves through the peasantry as the fish
I never
goes
read that
through
book.
water.
That's what
So, yeah, oh yeah. As a matter of fact, the Black Panther Party made all of their money selling Little Red Books. They came over to San Francisco, bought them for a dime a piece, and sold them on the streets in Berkeley for $2 a piece, and that's the way they made all the money.
Revolutionary capitalism.
Yeah.
The other Little Red Book I know is by Manfred Mann, and then Love covered it. Remember that?
My Little Red Book. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So 65, huh? 65?
65,
fish?
yeah.
I didn't become Wavy Gravy till 69, after,
Is that right?
after the you-know-what was over. And we went to Texas for the Texas Pop Festival, and we had a free stage. And I was laying down on the free stage. It was before my second spinal fusion. And they had about 1,100 kunga drummers on the stage. And I looked down. First, I saw this great clown from the Cowboy Rodeo being sold a joint by a long hair for $6. So I asked for all the marijuana on the stage. And I looked around, and the kunga drummers started to pick it up, and we got this chant going, all the dope on the stage, all the dope. And I looked down, there's this monstrous pile of reefer. And I said, okay, as people say you roll good, come on up. These guys are stripped to the waist, rolling joints one-handed, and tossing them out the audience. This big cloud of smoke comes up over Texas, and this disembodied voice comes and says, B.B. King is here with his boss. He's going to play for free, clear the stage. And I looked around, there's nobody there but me. And I was getting up slow, and I felt this arm on my shoulder. I looked up. There was B.B. King. He looked up. You Wavy Gravy? Yes, sir. He says, well, Wavy Gravy, we can work around you. I don't know why he called me that. He leaned me up against his amplifier.
B.B. King
and Johnny Winter came out of the wings, and they played till dawn. Yeah.
Maybe he meant something else. Wavy Gravy?
Wavy Gravy. Yeah, I met him when they put him in the Wall of Fame in L.A., and he says, I sort of remember. I don't know why I said that.
I first saw Wavy when he was a young Los Angeles comedian in 1963. I saw him play in the Astro, and he had like a great physique and a blow-dried haircut.
Is that right?
He was like an L.A. comedian kind of guy.
Yeah, Lenny Bruce was my manager in those days.
Is that right? So under the name Hugh Romney.
Yeah.
Was there any albums?
Third Stream Humor on World Pacific.
Is that right?
A rare disc.
What about, were you interacting with, something about Lord Buckley?
Well, Jim Dixon was the guy who did the album for World Pacific. He did the Birds and, you know, all that stuff. He also recorded all of Lord Buckley.
Well, where are you from originally?
Originally, I was born in East Greenbush, New York.
So when he talks about...
You're lying! You were born in Greenbush?
What? You too?
No, I was just thinking how apropos.
As a young comedian, did you go right to L.A. when he saw you at the Astro? Were you operating out of L.A. then?
Well, it was very surreal. I was a teenage beatnik, you know. I used to read my poems in the coffee houses and stuff, and people would line up 4 deep around the block to look at me. It was kind of a geek show kind of a situation.
Well, then
you know that. But as my poems became more intense, they became shorter and shorter, and I would improvise between poems as long as I possibly could before I had to read another poem. So this guy saw me do this. He said, skip the poems, talk about the weird stuff, and he started mailing me around the country. And next thing you know, I was opening for him and John Coltrane and Thelonious Monk and all them guys.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. And this is like the late 50s or the early 60s?
Late 50s, early 60s, both.
So you were on that boho beatnik circuit?
Both. I
huh?
was on the cusp between hippie and beatnik. I remember when Bobby Dylan first came into the Gaslight. He asked me if he could go on and perform.
The Gaslight, where's that?
On MacDougal Street in New York. That's where I used to do it at. And I asked him, I said, "What's your name, kid?" He told me. I grabbed the mic. I said, he was wearing a sign on his guitar that said, "This machine kills fascists." And I later discovered he was also wearing Woody Guthrie's underwear at the time. He said,
That was Woody Guthrie sign.
I just grabbed the, I just grabbed the mic. I said, "Here he is, a legend in his lifetime." What did you say your name was again?
Cool. Well, actually, speaking of like hitchhiking cross country and being an itinerant folk singer, were you doing that? You told me, you mentioned coming into Chicago and playing a play.
Oh
Was
yeah,
that
no, I did that actually.
Post-country Joe or pre?
Speaking of Woody Guthrie, I grew up next door neighbors with Woody Guthrie's family
Was that right?
in New York
York
till the
City.
age of 8, and so I went to school with I went to kindergarten in first grade with Arlo.
Was that right?
And Jody, who I still see now, Jody lives in Berkeley, you know. But I mean, old friends of the family. And I went to Marge Guthrie's dance school, Woody's wife. She had a tap dance academy in Brooklyn. Yeah. And I first learned tap dancing in Marge Guthrie's tap dancing school.
Wow.
So
So you a hoofer fish, hoofing fish?
then I went to LA as a young man, but
I mean, you
but
moved there on your own, or your family moved there?
my family moved there, and I guess I began sort of going around the country in 1963. And
With a guitar, like as a musician?
yeah, oh yeah, very definitely. Played all the bag houses in New York, well, basket houses, basket houses in New York, in Greenwich Village.
Uh-huh.